Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. So, who remembers what we talked about yesterday? Our iMessages. So, did anybody have a chance to use their iMessages yesterday after class? Okay. Well, when you used the iMessages, did it help resolve the conflict? Well, that's good. So, I want you to, again, we're thinking about conflicts. When you're watching a movie and you see people are fighting, think about your iMessages and think of how the conflict could have been avoided. Could they have used an iMessage to walk away or to avoid the conflict, or should they have just maybe walked away from everything? So today we are just going to be going over avoiding conflicts. It's always better if we're not fighting with people. It's always better to just get along with everybody. So today, what we're going to start off with is a little worksheet. And we're going to go over this worksheet. So we got our little avoiding conflicts worksheet here. And we're going to identify whether each scenario is a strength of yours or possibly a weakness, and what we could do about it in that situation. So the first example here, it shows an example is know when not to engage. This person said it was somewhat of a strength. And I know to ignore teasing and name calling and walk away. They just walk away from it. So our first one here is responding to peer pressure. Is it a weakness? Is it a strength? You pretty good with responding to peer pressure? If you give in to peer pressure all the time, we're going to call that a weakness. If you're able to not give in to the peer pressure, then we can call that a strength. So the next step after responding to peer pressure is if it's a strength, then you're okay. If it's not a strength, you might want to just kind of see about leaving the situation or getting the subject changed to something different where they're not pressuring you to do something that you may not need to be doing anyway. So knowing when not to engage. Are you good at it? If you really don't know when to not engage, then I would say that's probably a weakness. Doesn't mean it's bad just because it's a weakness. It just means you're not the greatest at it. So if this, like our example, they know to ignore teasing and name calling and walk away. If they don't walk away and they start confronting the person, if you do it the wrong way, that could cause a bigger conflict and everything get blown up. Are you good at dealing appropriately when conflicts arise? If somebody's getting on your nerves or you don't like something that somebody says, how do you react? Do you react calmly and rationally and try to talk things out? Or do you get mad and just start yelling? You get mad and start yelling, I would say that's probably going to be a weakness. If you're able to try to talk things through calmly, I would say that would be a strength. So our next one, know what's acceptable and what isn't. We could say that's basically, do you know what's the right thing to do and what's the wrong thing to do? If you think it's okay to call somebody names, make fun of them or anything, I would say that's not acceptable. And if you thought it was, then it's probably going to be a weakness. If you know it's not right and that people shouldn't do that, then I would say that might be a strength of yours to know what's right and what's wrong. So our next one is refraining from physical contact and unacceptable language. A lot of people, especially adults, might not be so good at this one. I know in movies, everybody's seen, especially the action movies, people start fighting. They start throwing fists. They might be using bad words that they shouldn't be using. If you're able to use your iMessages, maybe even just talk calmly and rationally. You don't touch them. You're not using bad words or anything. That would be a strength. If you're like in the movies with people using bad words or wanting to hit people, that's going to be a weakness. So our next one, ignore when appropriate. So we can go back to our example of the teasing and name calling. They just ignored it and walked away. That would be an appropriate time. Say your parents are calling your name, but you're mad at them. You're upset with them. And they're trying to get your attention and you ignore them. That's not an appropriate time. So the first one, but the teasing and name calling, you just walked away and ignored them, that's going to be able to be a strength area. But if you're mad at your parents or somebody and you're ignoring them while they're trying to get your attention, that's going to be more of us on the weakness side. So know when to seek assistance. If you do not even try to do something and you just go asking for help, that's not going to be good. If, say, somebody's teasing you, you've tried walking away, you've tried everything you do to avoid the conflict, but they keep coming up to you and getting to you, then it's probably time to go get a teacher or somebody. So if you haven't tried it or y'all just start screaming, that's probably not going to be a very good thing. And it's probably already too late. You should probably go get somebody to help. If you've asked them to please stop you don't feel good, again, with your iMessages. I don't like it when you tease me. I feel hurt when you tease me. Could you please not tease me anymore? And they keep on. Then instead of using bad words or putting your hands on them, then it would be time to go, either you could get me or another teacher to help you with the situation. So compromise to settle a conflict. So like, again, if you think back to yesterday, one of our examples was a friend wasn't sharing. Our iMessage was, I feel upset when you don't share. And then what was our, could you please? Could you please share something that you're not using? Or maybe use it together? That would be a compromise. And if you are able to do that relatively well, we could label that as a strength. If you don't ever compromise because you don't want to do something, it's not how everything that you want, that would probably be a weakness. So you're controlling temper and anger. If you easily get mad and angry and you just start yelling before you do anything else, that one's probably going to be a weakness. But if you're able to stay calm and try to talk things out, like using the iMessages, then I would say that would be a strength. Using self-management and self-regulation. So are you able to do things that you say you're going to do, or keep up with everything, manage your time wisely? Like, instead of playing all day and not doing your homework, are you able to know you need to do your homework, do that first, and then you have all the rest of the day to play? If you never do your homework and you play all day and then it's time for bed and you can't do your homework because you run out of time, well, then that's not managing and doing what you need. So that would be a weakness. But if you do your homework first and everything, that could be a weakness. It doesn't have to be exactly that example. It could be some other stuff. Just think about it and see if you can label it as a strength or weakness. Do you follow through on agreements? Did you and a friend agree to do something and then you later not do what y'all said y'all were going to do? If you didn't, then that would be a weakness. If you did, then that could be a strength. So now that we went through this worksheet here, you got your strength and weaknesses wrote out. Look through and see what you have labeled as a strength. Well, what do you have that's labeled as a weakness? You see them? Okay. Now I want you to focus on the weaknesses. Which ones are they? Okay. So what I want you to do now is to look at this list of your weaknesses, maybe write them on another piece of paper. And I want you to start seeing if you can't figure out a way, and if you need help, that's okay, to try and get these to go from weaknesses and see if we can't end up getting them to be strengths. It's not going to happen in one day. It's going to take time, like practicing, like you do if you play a sport. You have to practice at it to get better at it. And that's okay. Everybody needs to practice things. So now what we're going to do is I have another worksheet that we're going to go over, and it's going to give us some examples of like winning and losing. Let me get this pulled up. Okay. So now we got this, we got three outcomes of a conflict of what can happen. We got a win-win. You can win, lose, and you got lose, lose. So our examples here, they're all going to be the same. It's one example. So two of you are arguing over a ball. You can either have win-win, a win-lose, or a lose-lose. So if you're arguing over the ball, a win-win would be the teacher gives you another ball. Then you both have a ball, everybody wins. Now, a lose-lose, we're going to go ahead and go win-lose. So two of you argues over the ball. Your teacher flips a coin, and whoever wins the coin toss gets the ball, and the other person doesn't. One person gets the ball, they win. The other person doesn't get a ball, they lose. Win-lose. So a lose-lose, teacher hears you arguing over the ball, teacher takes the ball, nobody gets it, you both lose. So what I want you to do here is think of a scenario of a conflict and give me the example of the win-win, the win-lose, and the lose-lose. So let's take a couple minutes here and just give me the example of a conflict to where the scenarios would happen. Okay, does everybody have their scenarios? Okay, so the one that I come up with was, say you got a friend or you got an older, younger brother, y'all are at home and y'all both go for a cookie at the same time. Y'all start fighting over who gets the cookie. So a win-win, y'all could compromise, cut the cookie in half. Y'all both get half the cookie. Both of you get piece of a cookie, everybody wins. Win lose would be one of you just gets the cookie. Y'all go talk to a parent, your parent or whoever, and they just decide who gets the cookie. That wouldn't be very good. Lose, lose, y'all argue, don't go get nobody, and y'all start yelling at each other. Parent comes in and they decide y'all are yelling, arguing, neither one of you gets the cookie. That wouldn't be very good. Another example could be you want to play on the Kindle or the iPad or whatever. Win-win, take turns. Y'all both share it. One person can get it for a little while, and after a little while, the other person gets it. Win, lose, just one person gets it until it's bedtime. Lose, lose, y'all start fighting over it, who gets it. Parent comes in, hears y'all yelling, take it away, and nobody gets it. So with all of these scenarios, we always want to be on the win-win side. So think of a way with your example, think of a way to where we're able to get to where it will be a win-win. Okay, so now let's think about our iMessages again. If we use our iMessages, are we able to calmly get our scenarios to where they would be a win-win? So I want you to take some time here, think about it, look at your scenarios, and come up with an I statement that would help the scenario get to where it could be a win-win. Okay, now think about it. If you don't use the I statements and you just start arguing over it, do you still see the win-win coming out, or do you see the win-lose or possibly the lose-lose coming? Yeah, I think we're probably gonna be closer to the win-lose or lose-lose if we just start arguing over everything. So whenever we're using, say if we're not actually using the iMessage, say somebody's giving us an iMessage, we need to actually listen to what they are saying. Because if we don't listen to them and they're trying to tell us how they feel, it's going to make them upset. And if we don't listen to how they're feeling because of what we're doing, and then they give us the suggestion, then we're not going to be able to properly come up with a solution to the conflict. So we need to make sure that we're also listening during the conflict just as much as if we would be talking. If somebody is talking, we don't need to interrupt them. We need to let them finish their talking. And then once they're done, then we can talk and give out our ideas, what we think might be good. And we need to always strive for trying to get to the win-win column, because nobody likes to lose. So that's what I want you to do now. Is today, I want you to continue using your iMessages. And I want you to start trying to listen to the other person as well. And if we get a conflict, let's try to come up with a way for us to get the win-win scenario. And if you do have a conflict, write it down. What was said, were your iMessages used? Did you listen to the other person well without interrupting? And what was the result? Was it a win-win? Was it a win-lose? Or was there a lose-lose result? So keep up with that, and you can show me or tell me about it later and let me know how it came out. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I will see y'all later. Until then, bye.